For without a vision, the people perish. It's easy to live without a vision. It's not very helpful. It's really destructive. For instance, those who live on welfare, it's easy to remain on welfare. You don't have to do much to remain on welfare. It's easy. There's no living. It's just existing. Not even surviving. Homeless, same thing. Imprisonment, same thing. Just exist. To achieve one's own vision, first need to be able to choose the correct vision. Always be mindful of your surroundings. Not all visions are bad, but embracing the vision, remember, not every vision are bad. In fact, most visions are good, but there's only one best vision for you. What is the best vision for me may not be the same for you. To be able to implement the vision, to reach toward it, learn to play chess. Chess is about making the best moves. The best moves are the only right moves. But in chess, there are lots of different types of moves. There are really bad moves. I want to say you are guaranteed to screw up if you take that bad move. There are some just plain bad moves. There are some yet not sure questionable. There are a number of good moves. There's only one best moves. The grandmasters, who are the best in the game, they only make best moves. Never do they choose to make a good move. Always they strive to choose the best moves and do it. If your enemy, your opponent, is making the best move and you are making the good, your enemies can put you into a position to start making bad moves. Bear that in mind. Pick the move to make your vision a reality. It takes work. Best move takes plenty of work. The only way best moves can work is in doing. It takes to do it. That's the only way that works. Now your enemy, the devil, will do the damnedest to prevent you. He's a master chess player. There's only one master chess player better than him, and that's God. But the devil will study you. He knows you. He knows you better than you know yourself. He knows your strengths. He knows your weaknesses. He knows the hole in your arm, and he will exploit all of that to his benefits if you allow him. He has the tactical intelligence on you. You think you have it on him? You don't. First rule in the arts of war says, know thy enemy and know thyself. If you know both, you are guaranteed to win. If you know one or the other, you either guaranteed lose or maybe success. If you know yourself and you don't know your enemy, you might succeed. If you know your enemy but you don't know yourself, you are reliable to lose. If you don't know either, you are guaranteed to lose. Knowing about yourself is difficult, requires insight. Most people don't like to stare at themselves long enough to have the insight into their negative parts, their weak spots. Why? They will be forced to be required to do something about it. Any human psychic designed to protect you from yourself. You are not supposed to see how ugly you are, you really are. If you saw that, then you will start feeling self-destructive. You will start to make a lot of bad moves. And 2 bad moves never equal a good move, let alone the best move. So embrace the correct vision and do it the best way. Doing it the best way gets you to the result, the fastest and the most effective way. If you want something, you have to let go of what you already have. So in order to be able to open your arms and embrace more that exists with the best vision. If you set yourself to a vision, you better set yourself to the right one. If you lose yourself in this vision, you are not going very far. You are not going very far implementing and achieving the vision. All in you will end up is dying. Always remember, did he tell you to give yourself for your country, for your vision, for your people? No, they are not going to give you the life for that. The other bad guys will give his life for his country, and you live for your country. Those restrictive, don't get me wrong in the interpretation. You are going to live for your country because you are alive for your country, and they might go dead for the wrong vision and for the distraction they choose on the way. You have won. To the victor, the land goes to the spoils of war, all the wealth, the land, money, whatever. But you cannot be victorious unless you have three things. Number one, being one to survive. Number two, then to remain control. Number three, and do not destroy everything in the process. There's such a thing as having such a victory at a greater cost. That's not even a victory. It's called the Pyrrhic victory. The word comes from Pyrrhus of Athens, I think. He was a great general. He just had winning at such great cost. That would have been better if he never fought in the first place. Now, choose your vision, but choose wisely. You can't get something with the wrong vision. Know what I am saying? The devil knows where your heartbeat is. His whole purpose in your life is to keep you away from God's best. If you can't do that, you can prove that God is wrong, that God is a liar. Why are you helping the devil? Why are you helping those with having a vision with destruction? Why you engage with them and partner with them? Why are you helping him, the devil? I want to say something that is considered blasphemous within the civil rights movement in the United States. Dr. King, one of the best civil rights leaders ever, he spoke a vision that resonated within the hearts of most of all Americans in the US. He has that ability to speak and plan, organize, and motivate. But he only had part of the picture. He ended up dead before seeing even a fraction of the benefit that I personally get to have as a result of that civil movement result. He could have been much more effective had he understood the direction of the vision and what was the next step. Visions can be added together sequentially, or you take a grand overarching vision and you break it down into smaller ones that are steps into achieving the grand vision. Most people think small because they are morons, because they won't think big, because it cannot be done. They are right. They will never get it done. Those they think big, they break it down into smaller chunks, and each of these chunks breaks into actual actionable steps. Those are the ones that change the world. If you want to change the world, even if just your little corner of the world, then knowledge by itself is not enough. Telling people this is not enough. Try to remember his name, Jesus, with last name. What was his name? His Booth last name. Yeah. William Booth. He, a Christian minister, wanted to go to the poorest part of London to preach the gospel. He got on really fast that the people there did not want to hear anything because they were hungry, they were thirsty, they were freezing, and they were burning up heat. They have no shelter. God enlightened his eyes. He said, until the basic needs of the human being are met, they are not interested in anything else. So he began a vision that was a mission that went, embraced, and changed the world. Meet the needs of the people first and preach the gospel. You don't just speak in a media or YouTube. That's how people listen. You do first what the people need. Give them. Salvation Army still remain one of the organizations I personally respect the most when I see how they contributed to the community globally, in the US most highly. They really do embrace the vision. Choose carefully your vision. The difference between a general and a private is your ability to understand the visions in the military hierarchy. Different types of help to implement the actions that requires to achieve those visions. The private knows nothing. A general knows a lot. This is a general that won the war. It is a private that actually put forth the action. So the generals need the private and the surgeons, but without the general, the war cannot be won. If you wish to be one in authority, must also be willing to be someone else under authority. Don't push me. People say at times, don't push me. They have been laid down. Has that caused them great misery? Now, at each point in that path, one can have the power to choose. People have been choosing badly, including me personally, for a number of reasons. Because you have developed this habit of choosing bad, you no longer have the ability to perceive the best moves. And you don't let nobody else push you on that, as if you know everything and you know what's best, and people refuse when others tell them otherwise. They can get mad as hell on other people. They can get mad if somebody encourages them, motivates them. By the way, as I am a people person, therefore, whoever listens to this, I'm not supposed to tell you the things you already want to hear. You are already, because there are things you already think you heard and you hear. My job is to tell you the truth. Donald Trump can do nothing but run his mouth. Grow up. I'm just a visitor. For a while, reside in the US. But let me point the painful obvious with a little knowledge that I haven't tried to integrate. Unless all Americans in unity and solidarity start to roar and say loudly as if you mean it, my house, in my yard, I am the big dog, and you walk carefully. Forget about Boston Harbor. Forget about 9/11. Unless you wake up and detach your focus from Trump, from the media, from the narratives, your opponents in the Middle East, MBZ using Trump and MBZ and Mohammed bin Zayed and Mohammed bin Salman, using Trump in a subtle way is going to defeat and shame you to be the big dog in your own yard and in your own turf, while you remain a sleeping walking. So please wake up. Wake up and secure your ground. Because your country and you are in danger, I think. Because a lot of things is taken over in a very subtle way. And a lot of things is already, the seed has been already there in a subtle way to create destruction, to divide this great nation. Messages of enmity and hatred and all this conflict, all this behind the Black Lives Matters. Those are the people who are behind the scene, try to stir up, focusing within the boundary of the US what's going on. If you limit yourself, you wouldn't find the clue. Why this time there is unrest, riots, and protest? Your enemies, they know you. They use everything to exploit, to divide you, because that's their strategy. Divide and conquer by creating a havoc and a catastrophic situation. Wake up. Those who wants to avenge you is right here. Stop thinking about people. Stop talking about people. People who talks about people is a small-minded, they say. Stop talking about Evans. They said it's a middle-minded people talks about Evans. A great mind. Be a people with a great mind to come up with an idea, with a solution for the problem and the danger that's hovering in the democracy, on the democracy of the United States. Wants to attack and change the Constitution. Want to plotting and conspiracy to defeat you in your own turf, in your own yard, by subtly using Donald Trump for the last 3 years, eroding little by little. They erode the culture, they erode the norm, the value system, by using a dirty money that's controlling globally, using people. So stop talking about people, because it's small-minded people who does that, unless you are one. Stop talking about Evans, because the dim-minded people, that's it. Unless you are one. Talk about idea that brings a solution that American people are facing right now. Only rich-minded people brings idea that solves the puzzle. Bring you grandmaster chess players in the forefront. Bring you historians who has a bird eye view to see how history is repeating itself and how the patterns are unfolding. Bring you more military with all their full intelligence capacity to at least give you the exact answer on the first rule of arts of war. Know your enemies and know yourself. Well, who are your enemies today that can threaten the United States? I leave that for you to ponder and brainstorm and come up with your lists. Unless you answer this, it will be hard to find the solution. You might be conquered before you knew it. So much is going on in Ethiopia for the last 3 years. People couldn't point where the exact problem is because it was that complicated. They are very masterminded with all their deception and manipulation, with their network and chains of they mobilize because of the money they use for people to lie. And all the distraction they cause, all the life lost because people don't understand the situation. The exact symptom, the exact formula they use and apply in Ethiopia, they are using it here in the United States. People are waiting for the democracy, the normal procedures. But behind the scene, others are taking over through a negative approach. All this news media that you hear about COVID, take that such kind of information with a grain of salt, because they are a bunch of lies, intentionally spreading lies to make people panic, to make people be fearful, to make people be controlled before they take action, and also crippling them not to do anything about it except to rely on their information and do. That way, you are fighting this battle in their own terms. You are obeying what they said, instruction. Stay at home, how you celebrate in Thanksgiving. This should be a wake-up call. There must be something they want to do. That's how we have seen the things, the patterns unfold in Ethiopia. It should be a red flag alarm when this such kind of information is spreading at a larger scale. Behind the scene, they are doing some damage, or they are in the process of getting ready to do unexpected, catastrophic destruction, to which for them is a win, for the general public and civilians is being taken over. They know your weaknesses. We are living in a virtual world where the virtual world credentiality is not as such to be trusted. So all the information that comes to you doesn't mean has a facts based. It's there to make you fall. It is there as a bait for you to go and grab and hook you and trap you. If you don't realize, Trump is just a figure, a puppet. The one who is hindering your peace and democracy are, I would say, the Abu Dhabi guy in Saudi Arabia, who are the allies of the United States. But those three people betraying the United States people and governments in their own conspiracy for their own personal advantage, that they are conspiring to take over. Might be like in Ethiopia, take over our land, enslave our future. since I'm seeing the same pattern, they are thinking that in the US. I don't know whether that will work or not, but at least they have the potential to create a distraction. So then you have to go back and do your own homework on the first rule on the arts of war. Remember, not knowing your enemies can guarantee you a lose. That's gonna be biggest disaster and the greatest fall. Wake up, be alert, stay focused. See this situation we are in, that we are in a war combat. All this media is like they're throwing like a grenade to attack you. Something dropping to capture you. Because the battle, the psychological battle is going on through those social medias. If you believe and deceived, you fall. One person falling and a lot of people joining that, the more the people are weak, the more the people are by that information, that's how you surrender. You lose your strength. Remember, in everyone's strength, there's a crack of weakness. They are using that weakness that you have in you, that the devil study you more than that you know yourself, and using it to exploit you, to harm you. If the world can't stop the war in Tigray in Ethiopia, I would say it's unlikely America and Europe survive, because it's interrelated. They try to colonize Ethiopia. They have now the resource. They are empowering themselves with the resource. They are paying money to the people in the United States to create chaos like they did in Ethiopia. So they are more empowered. They have money. They can exploit. There are people available to lie. So the more the other part of the world is conquered by them, the more you will get weak. Once they finish the US, they will move to the US. So now whatever is happening in Ethiopia is just as a country, as one entity that affects only Ethiopia. It's a global, because those people, the two Middle East countries, the two Middle East Arab countries, Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, have a dark vision. They're going after globally. Remember from history how the great Alexander go to the Persia, go to different countries in conquering and empowering until he has been defeated in India. They learn from history, they're applying it. While people in other countries are complacent, lazy, and relaxed, those people are a vision. They go for more, but they go in a very illegal and destructive way. But that doesn't make them, they don't have power, or they lose. What they did in Ethiopia, they don't lose. They're killing and capturing, controlling the land, because the world watching it from a distance as if nobody's business. They forget that it's coming to them. The more the planet at one part of the world is weak now, remember, those people who could have defended them and stopped them there, they are not there, means you are susceptible. You are the next vulnerable. If one cannot see the war in Ethiopia, because those two Middle East countries want the balance of power to shift toward them by making a no-aggression agreement with Israel and go after other countries so that each can be free. They are also doing historical punishment. I have seen in Ethiopia, they changed the palace. They're changing now the university. They have historical gravas. We heard from the Emperor Haile Selassie that he went to visit them after the aircraft has been landed. He saw nothing but a desert and he said, no, take me back home. They have that gravas. I think that's what they are also doing, historical damage. And Semitic people are villages, and Semitic people doesn't have value for life. You can reason with them. If they go to war in relation with their faith, they will go all the way. They are not panicking, they are not scared. So people have to know what we are dealing with a bigger picture in mind. What's going on in Ethiopia is not just Ethiopia. It's interrelated. It has a correlation in what's happening in the US. Because it happens because of President Donald Trump betraying our country, conspiracy with this country, and giving away our country and selling our country, facilitating, and for us to be attacked. Is the American people immune? Is your President Donald Trump trustworthy towards the general public that give him the vote to be in power? Or is he working for those people? You have to see the situation and answer. For me, I see what I see. There's a danger towards the people in the US. Everything, what's going on in the world globally, you have to see outside of your border, outside of the United States, because most of the players are playing outside. The only thing happening within the territory of the US is the action, the result, the distraction, the riot, because that's what they wanted to do. They have a mission. So with that has also revenge. I see those historical events, like the US, British, and France exploit their oil right after the First World War. They are empowered themselves and waiting for this moment to destroy the church. That's what they are destroying in Ethiopia. They are destroying Christianity. They are destroying the historical grievance they have. So ultimately, at the end, they are trying to mock Christ. Yes. To destroy your culture, unity, and bringing the